And welcome back. Hopefully the sponsors treat you right here on the BlueWire Podcast Network. Don't forget that you can reach us at bleacherblums.com, Blummers at Blummer27 on Twitter and Instagram. Myself at Real David Tuttle. I should say at Blummer27. I think if they don't remember the at, then we probably shouldn't be pushing that anyway.
Everything's an at nowadays.
That's right. That's right. Bleacherblums.com has our merchandise, and actually you can grab the podcast there and just learn a little bit more about Mr. Geoff Blum and myself, David Tuttle, the co-host of the Bleacher Blums podcast. And then on YouTube, if you search Bleacher Blums, you can see the short hop. So you can see our lovely combed hair, or Blummer in his Dude Abides sweater today. But anyway, so continue to listen, rate, review, subscribe to us on any podcast platform that you so choose. So Blummer, we were talking about baseball during the lockout, so there's not a whole lot we can say about that. Let's switch gears a little bit. I think not living in Houston, maybe I don't understand the gravity or the monstrosity that is the rodeo coming to town. I think we touched on it a couple weeks ago, but you and I had a funny conversation off air, and I think since Major League Baseball's in the lockout, they took down all names and likenesses. But you went to the PBR website, the Professional Bull Riders, and the athletes are not the Cowboys, which that surprised me. So what's going on with the rodeo? I think you were saying that Kojo is going to be the heartthrob of everybody there. Yes. But tell me what's on tap for the weekend in terms of the rodeo.
Yeah, we will be going to the barbecue cook-off, which is an incredible event. You know, it's got to be about 60, 70 tents. It's music, it's partying, it's good barbecue. That's always a blast. And like you said, Kojo, who is Cody Johnson, for those who don't know, my daughters are absolutely infatuated, and I was able to pull off and get them some tickets, and we're going to go see him, I believe, on the 28th. That'll be our deadline party with Cody Johnson. And in getting ready for our podcast, we try and bring as much content as we can, but sometimes you go down a wormhole or you hit that roadblock in your skull and you're like, what am I going to talk about? And I typed in PBR. So I go to the Professional Bull Riding website. I'm scrolling through and seeing what's going on. They've got rodeo clowns, they've got all the latest updates, and there's a section that has athletes. And I'm assuming it's going to have the Cowboys or the bull riders who are the athletes. And I see, Dalen Swearigan is the number one bull rider. And then I click on the athletes section, and not only do you see the bull riders, you see the bulls who are ranked. So right now, the number one bull is riding solo. 1A, they have two number ones. I don't know how that works out or how you even rate a bull. And maybe it's how many times you knock this guy or knock a guy off and how many ribs or broken bones or concussions you've caused.
That's crazy.
But 1A is Woo-Paw. And number 3 sounds a little more vicious than riding solo. Number 3 is Nighthawk. So Nighthawk is your number 3 bull. But there are as many bulls on this webpage as there are bull riders. And that just fascinates me. I think it's incredible because having witnessed them in person, it is unbelievable what is happening when you're trying to ride a bull for 8 seconds, dude. So that's my rodeo update.
That's great. I just in that
set
whole
that up beautifully, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You in that whole little kind of explanation, what stood out to me was that rodeo clowns, there's a job you can take if the lockout continues and the rodeo stays in town. Dude,
paint me
rodeo
up and
clown.
put me in death's way.
Yeah. Woo! That is a job. That's Mike Rowe's Dirty Jobs. I don't know if he ever did rodeo clown, but man, that is a death-defying. That's crazier than actually riding the bull for 8 seconds or something.
And they're if you get a chance to go to the rodeo, they're swiping at them, trying to get their attention away from the riders. They're asking for it, and yet they get out of the way. I'd be the guy that would be smacking the bull, and the bull would all of a sudden turn its attention to me, and I'd try and climb up the gate they got there, and there goes my hamstring, and I'm face down as this bull sticks its horn right at my caboose and fires me into the third row.
Yeah, I don't know if playing dead works with those things because they'll stomp on you too.
Right.
Just drop you're like, oh, my hamstring. Play dead. No, I don't think that works. They'll see it through. Yeah, that's crazy. The rodeo clown job is nuts. But I did have the opportunity to go to a rodeo in Billings, Montana one time, and I really enjoyed myself. And I think again, if the rodeo I know is always in town here in February, but maybe I know we're trying to get the lockout ended, and I want to come out for a weekend or something like that. But maybe I pick a time when the rodeo's in town and we'll come out. Probably.
If you come out, you're definitely going. Yeah, we'll go.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it'd be nice to kind of combine it all, right? It'd be an event, and then
one-stop shop.
One-stop shop. We could record a couple of podcasts. We'd get everything done. But it's an event, and it's in town for a pretty good amount of time, isn't it? It's like 10 days,
they're there
2
for
weeks.
A month.
Oh, a month?
Yeah, they're there for a month. You want a funny story about the rodeo?
I do.
Yes, you do. And it's correlation with baseball, so we'll keep it baseball-centric and tell a rodeo story at the same time. So I left the Astros, and I got traded away in 2003 and then I come back and sign with the Astros in 2008. And at the time, Carlos Lee is in the middle of his, $100 million contract. And I'm just meeting Carlos Lee for the first time, and obviously other guys in the clubhouse, but we get we get into that first week of March. Games are starting to get in the flow. You're starting to play 5 innings. You're starting to get those 3 at bats. You're starting to be like, okay, season is around the corner. Starting to engage, start to lock in, and I roll out to stretch, and Carlos Lee's not there, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's got the day off. The next day we roll out to stretch. Carlos Lee's not there again, and I'm going, dude, this is the Caballo. This is our 4-hole hitter. I'm like, hey man, is this guy okay? Is he hurt? Is he not healthy? What's going on? Why isn't he here? And one of the veteran guys comes over to me and goes, hey, have you heard of the Houston Rodeo? And I was like, no, because we're always in spring training, so why would I know about it? And he's like, well, it's a big deal. And I don't know if you know this about Carlos Lee, but in his contract, he got a week off of spring training to go back to Houston to go to the Livestock show at the rodeo in Houston. Wow. And I was like, what? So I come to find out later in that season, as I'm walking up and down the plane, that Carlos Lee has his computer up. I tell the story all the time at like galas and when I'm emceeing, because it just, it's baseball talk. And when I say what I'm about to say, you're gonna get a chuckle, because everybody's watching movies, playing cards, playing music, talking, and doing their thing. And he's in the back of the plane, has his headphones on, and I walk by and his computer's open. Excuse me. And he's looking at beef. And now when I say that at a gala, everybody goes, what? He's looking at beef. You immediately think,
oh yeah, in the locker room, major league guy. Yes.
A female person, and I'm like, dude, I go, and I said that to him. I go, you're just back here staring at beef this whole flight. He goes, yep. So he is a cattle rancher. He has a cattle ranch in Panama. And he said he's got, he's like the John Dutton of Panama. Nice. So he's got his own Yellowstone down there, and he would leave once a week during spring training to go to the Houston Livestock Show and buy cattle.
Nice.
That was his thing. That's my rodeo story.
That's a great story. And I bet, we met guys throughout our career. You're like, oh, that guy's a smart guy, or this guy's a businessman. Or I remember one spring training with the Cincinnati Reds. This guy showed up, an Ivy League guy, pretty good left-handed hitter, maybe switch hitter, kind of infield guy. I think he might have made a short season team or A-ball team, and then he either retired. Mike Hill, the president of the Florida Marlins. I was like, oh, yeah, that guy's pretty smart. Anyway, he was a good guy, but I think he had different aspirations. But you meet these guys along the way, you're like, oh, yeah, Mike Hill, that guy's pretty smart. And now he's in charge of a baseball team with, Derek Jeter owning. But anyway, kind of an interesting, that's a great story about Carlos Lee. And I think, probably his $100 million contract and whatever he made in earnings probably goes a long way down in Panama. I bet he is still very successful in terms of ranching and raising livestock down in Panama. Have you heard anything? Like, you could probably buy some grass-fed beef from his distributor.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe I have, but I would imagine, the way
at the
things are
store.
going right now, yeah, the beef sales are off the charts. He's probably doing extremely good.
That's funny.
I did hear a story, and I don't know when it was, but there was, I don't know if it was like, a third world country or a country that just didn't have the resources that some of these other countries do to, raise their own cattle, but they had like a tsunami, a flood, a hurricane, some kind of natural disaster, like wiped out their beef supply. And they had they get the emergency funding from whoever, and they went to him and bought cattle from him to replenish this country's beef supply. Wow. That was one of the stories I've heard.
Carlos Lee doing well outside of baseball. So there you go. This is the
not
trickle
a bad side hustle.
There you go. Trickle down economics, right? I mean, the guy's reinvesting and doing what he's supposed to be doing. But again, you mentioned Max Scherzer at the beginning of the podcast. I mean, some of these guys are, I mean, not everybody is able to make a living from the money they earned in baseball. And I think there you go. You have 4 daughters. I have 3 kids. We played baseball for combined 25 years. Hence the podcast. Yeah. There you go. So anyway.
Let's see. Tank of gas out of this podcast every month.
Yeah, that's right. I do. Barely a tank of gas in California. You still send me pictures of gas. It's like $5 a gallon. I'm like, I can barely fill up the tank. So